many parts of our journey. Most of what our journey is about these days is bringing things into balance by allowing it to surface, addressing the different issues. And of course, we know sexuality is definitely one of those issues that is a global epidemic of all kinds of things going on and being exposed and revealed right now. So it's up to each of us to do the best we can personally to bring our own awareness, our own alignment, and our own attunement to the best of our ability into a balanced and aligned state so that we can work together in helping each other through this challenging part of our human experience. We do know that for the most part, our sexuality is really a mystery. It has not been fully explained. A lot of the older cultures, certainly within the European cultures, the Eastern cultures, sexuality took on a lot more of a divine role, where it was very much put into the category of the education was gifted so that people have an understanding of what it is on the sacred level. And unfortunately, that sacredness over the years and centuries has been diminished down to where we are in the cycle. When you look at the spectrum, there's always the brightest light of what something can be in its full potential. And then there's the opposite of that, which is the darkest, most deep, furthest away from what it is in its sacredness. So we know over the lifetimes and through our karmic journey, we have all played many, many roles. Chances are you have been the victim, you've been the villain, you've been the one who, perpetrated, you've been the one that was victimized. It's all a part of us learning about conditional love. And conditional love is part of what sexuality has really exposed in the deepest way. Okay, somebody has their mic on. If you could just turn them off, please. Yeah, thank you. So what we're going to do, we're just going to take a few moments and we're going to do an inner prayer. We're going to use the breath again, because the breath is the beginning of life, where the in-breath starts the journey and the out-breath ends the journey. It's also very much a part of what opens our heart to access what is sacred and what is divine within. So using your in-breath, just bring that nice deep breath into the body with a relaxed state of accepting that your sexuality is sacred. Breathe that in. And anything that is within you, as far as memories or programs, patterns, hereditary issues, personal issues and experiences, memories, whatever, as you breathe out, give yourself permission to let them go. The heart is in a place, in a state right now where it is empowered to virtually forgive and release anything that is painful or difficult when it comes to remembering. It's not about forgetting what you have learned. It is not going through the experience of the trauma and the drama anymore. We don't need to repeat that. That is something that is very much a gift that comes with what we're doing right now in our spiritual healing. We are able to release the memories, the old ways, and the worries that come with holding on to that. It affects our health and it affects everything. So let's just take in another nice deep breath of that very sacred sexuality, what it truly means, and ask that the divine would bring the energy of forgiveness, a sense of self, the ability to clear what is needed, what is allowed. Just gift yourself with permission as you bring that light in and allow it to shine within your heart and within your body and your being in a way that says, today is a day where a lot of things can be released and let go. Some we may be aware of, some we may not. It doesn't really matter. And in the next breath, as you breathe in, we're going to acknowledge that we have played in the karmic journey both male and female roles through our sexuality. And we're going to embrace that both are a part of what needs to heal. And again, giving permission for both aspects of self, being male and female, giving them permission to show up and dialogue or express themselves through love, understanding, and forgiveness. And as you breathe out, just release any programs, patterns relating to that, giving yourself the opportunity to absolutely clear what may be troubling your heart and your soul. And then within this final breath that we're going to be using for the purpose of our journeying, we are going to breathe in the sacred child, breathing in a warm and welcoming, loving, gentle, compassionate sense of that inner child. And for the purpose of our journey today, we're going to allow that inner child to be surrounded with the purity of heart, the very essence of divinity, and the very nurturing, loving energy of the Divine Mother, so that they are being cared for, comforted, and uplifted to the light of creation right now, so that all things can be brought into a beautiful state of grace and peace and love at the very deepest level of our soul, with the highest purpose in mind. Okay, so you can just open your eyes, and at this point, we're going to kind of discuss the various components that go into our sexuality. We know that it has many, many aspects of our thoughts, our feelings, our memories, our outcomes. Sexuality is a very intense topic for some. For others, it's one that's avoided. Others may feel that it's an obsession. And it doesn't really matter what your research is in this lifetime. It's all being geared towards bringing it to a very uplifting and loving conclusion. Let's call it that. So it doesn't matter what has happened, although you will have a lot of reactions to it. You will have a lot of inner traumas that may be connected to it and dramas. We're just going to ask that at soul level, we are able to set all of that aside so that we can open our hearts to the wisdom that has been gained by what we have been through. That's what we're looking for, the wisdom gained, not to have to go through the whole journey of the trauma and the drama anymore. So in our journey of sexual discovery, we have a lot of what has been brought forward through past lives. And in the therapy journey, past lives play a significant role in being able to unfold not only your own sexual perspective, but it will also be very much connected to ancestors. When we look at the journey this time being karma completion, it means that we are in the front line of this whole journey as very brave souls and women of power. We have the ability to not just heal our own sexual, we'll call them misconducts, but we have a connection to all of our ancestors as well. So the genetics and the genealogy coming forward will also be gifted with the blessing of healing as we bring this awareness and consciousness to the collective. So it's not just you that is sitting here today. Just think for a moment that the room that you're sitting in is filled with your ancestors, and they're all sitting there and going, yes, we finally get to do this part. We finally get to heal this part, because it truly has affected every generation in some way since time began. So in the past life memories, if you have something that repeatedly comes up for you, in other words, there's a deep concern that triggers you, whether it is the abuse of women, whether it's the abuse of children, it can be also the abuse of men. Men have played roles where they have also been the victims as well. It doesn't really matter who has stepped into that role. if they are an ancestor in your line, you have the ability to collectively hold their healing in your hands and in your heart right now too. So it makes it very special. So when we look at relationship challenges in our initial beginning of every lifetime, when you are born, if your mother doesn't accept you right away, or your father is not present, this is going to set right from the very beginning that you are going to feel disowned, disoriented. You're not going to know yourself to be truly who you are, because the way we are designed by Creator, Source, the female is always looking for affection, and the male part of us is always looking for attention. And when they don't get it, that's when they start into behavioral issues or distorted perspectives, because they really don't have any point of reference that can help them. And it's essential that at some point in the karmic process that you be able to identify from your own heart, how do you give yourself attention? How do you give yourself affection instead of looking to other people? When we look at little girls that do not have daddy's attention, they will tend to partner up with men who are not necessarily giving them attention, but men that demand attention. So if you're looking to partner with somebody that's going to respect you, cherish you, love you, and adore you, chances are that your attraction level is going to be the opposite of what your heart truly deserves, because you're trying to balance, you're trying to learn, you're trying to shift this concept of not having the attention that you deserve. So with young girls not having a mother that nurtures and cares for them and is affectionate with them, they're not going to know what it is to be in that place of balance. And what is affection? Is affection just somebody giving you what you want? Is affection getting your needs met in whatever way you can? Because if it wasn't given freely, openly, then you're going to have this desire for it, but you don't know where to get it. So it can end up in any kind of behaviors, from feeling that, you get a high from shopping, acquiring something new, acquiring something different, acquiring something that you don't have. May feel that need in the instant that you actually acquire it, but it doesn't actually support the heart and what it's looking for. So the dance that we have in our sexuality becomes almost an abusive dance of looking for what you think you want, knowing that you need something, but not knowing what that is. So relationships can be very, very hurtful, very difficult. And at some point, we all start into a relationship with that in-breath of, oh, they paid attention to me, or, oh, they're affectionate to me. But in that brief moment where that in-breath goes in and you get all excited, it's almost as if in that moment, that part of you that is the child that is not in alignment with being cherished and adored comes up and starts playing out or acting out different behaviors, whether it's demanding or insisting that things have to be your way. It really takes that instant moment when things are meant to be special and pure and divine in connecting with someone else. And it just messes with the whole thing so that it becomes a distorted dance of energy that usually doesn't end well. A lot of women in this lifetime have been able to work through it. They've taken those feelings that they have about being, unloved, unwanted, and unwelcomed as a woman, and they've been able to work through it into relationships that are phenomenal. But that takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of time to do that. It's usually kind of bouncing from relationship to relationship until you primarily you'll learn all the things you don't want. That's what the first few relationships are all about. You will find all the things you don't want in every partner that you meet until you've got this wonderful list and you have your I don't want this list. And then from there, you start looking at it and saying, well, if I don't want all of these things in a partner, then it must mean that I need the opposite of all of those things. And I do encourage you at some point, if you are looking at exploring into your sexuality, sit down and write down that list, to consciously put it on paper and say, these are the things I really don't want in a partner, because we're very clear on that. We're very precise, we're very detailed oriented. we're clear on what we don't want. And then over a period of time, draw a line down the middle of the page and what is the opposite of each of those, so that you start converting the energy of what you don't want into the intention or the inspiration for what you do want. And when you get those two lists done, the first thing I challenge you to do is to see yourself in that list. Because the things you don't want in others are usually the things you don't like about yourself. And the things that you are discovering that you do want are the goals that your soul is setting for you or nudging you towards. And just saying, if you're looking for someone who is affectionate, then you need to look at yourself and how well you take care of you. How affectionate are you to your needs, to your wants, to your very core necessities? Because if you cannot provide for yourself those qualities and those energies, no one else on the planet can either. So we really get into that place of soul searching and looking at our sexuality from a whole different perspective that comes back to that. Does this align to affection? Does this align to having attention? And if it does, am I doing it in the most loving way? Or am I going about it in a way that inevitably gets me rejected every time I open my heart door? That's certainly not a nice feeling. So let's take a moment and just go within and ask yourself if the most significant role that you need to address first is the inner child, or is it the inner divine female, or is it the inner male? Because there's something inside each of us that is the introductory step that opens up the rest of what needs to happen in a very gentle way. And that's how we're going to approach it tonight. We're going to be gentle with ourselves. For those of you who have selected the inner child, I just want you to see yourself holding that child that is you, and giving that child the affection and the attention that they deserve and have deserved since the day they were born. As a matter of fact, they deserved it the day they were conceived. Hold that child with such love and respect, compassion. And if you can, even take one step further and see if you can promise that child a very different life from this moment on. Not a perfect life, but a life that offers the affection and the attention that they deserve. And that child inside of you will respond. Wait for that response. See that little smile, those sparkling little eyes. Just see the hope and the peace that comes from, I'm finally being cherished. I'm being talked to in a way that I deserve. I'm being addressed as the real me. And just see yourself loving that child and holding it up to the light of creation and saying, I'm willing to start brand new. I'm willing to open my heart to the possibilities that are so much greater than the ones that I have allowed up until now. Because I had a bit of a rough start. And I've been dragging all of these old memories and these old ancient ways of children being treated in a way that is not loving and kind. Here I am, this very, very new infant child, the purest form of love, the most innocent of innocence. I'm willing to open my heart to the possibilities and see what can happen, knowing that I am protected by all that is holy and divine. I am supported and nurtured and cared for by the earthly mother that is the essence of creation. I have everything I need to succeed, and I am safe. It is safe to be me right now. And a nice deep breath in, accepting that. As you breathe out, declare it. So it is. And then we look at the female that has been holding that child. And we ask that female that is us, are you willing to let it all go in the name of love? Every difficult life, every difficult moment, every difficult situation, every difficult relationship, every time that I believed in some way that I had failed or fell short of what and who I am, I'm willing to let it go and lay it down. My sexuality is sacred to me. And I don't fully understand all that it is and all that it means because it has been tainted and limited with so many things in so many ways. I just ask that in this moment, that the light of creation see that there's a cloak over my heart. I've kept it hidden and I've kept it wrapped very tightly so that I felt safe. And right now, the safest thing for me to do is to shed that cloak and to release the limitations and the conditions that I have placed on my heart. My sexuality, the center core of I am, my creator being, the essence of all that is holy and divine that is me. And just see that you are able to, by permission of self, to shed that cloak. Just allow it and see it as being removed ever so gently from your body and your being. And as it drops to the floor, just step forward. One step is all it takes to leave it all behind. And as you see it on the floor and you witness it on the floor, all of the ancestors that are there in the room with you are applauding you and congratulating you. And one by one, each of them, the cloak falls to the floor. The patterning, the programming, the old ways, the old wounds, the abuse, the hurt, the betrayals, the rejections, all of those cloaks, one by one, fall to the floor. And they take one step beyond that cloak. And the essence of Mother Earth is just going to absorb that energy of the cloaks and take it into the depth of her being, into the very core of her creative process, and create crystals from all of the debris. Crystals hold information. Crystals hold the memories. But now when you address this aspect of yourself, you're going to see crystals shimmering and brightly shining everywhere you look. They're going to help you see yourself differently. They're going to help you feel different about the real you that has been hidden, but is no more hidden. You are now in the light, surrounded by the crystals of creation. Nice deep breath in. And as you breathe in that blessing, as you breathe out, just activate the crystals for the wisdom they contain. You have access to all of them. Your ancestors have all shared theirs. And all of the crystals are now coming together in one big crystal, magnetically and magically coming together as one huge, beautiful crystal in the center of your chamber. And now just step into the crystal so that you know you are protected, you are provided for, you are loved, and it has the very essence of affection of your soul from every part of your body and your being, loving you just the way you are. And as you're in that crystal, absorbing the light and healing the aspects of self that are sexual self, male self is going to enter the chamber and begin to circle and walk ever so slowly around the crystal. He's observing. He doesn't quite know what to do. This is all new to him. He doesn't know if he's supposed to do something or be something or create something. He just doesn't know. And as you continue to watch him ever so slowly walking around the crystal that he cannot take his eyes off of because it's so incredibly beautiful, we're going to ask that the light of creation come down and light him up in a way that gives him all the attention he deserves for the difficult roles that he has played and the challenging things that he has been through and had to figure out and needed to be strong and needed to be wise and needed to be all these things that he may or may not have ever really understood what it meant. But in this chamber that is our sexual self, he needs to understand and he needs to comprehend at every level of his being the sacredness of what he represents. And continue to watch him walking around. But this time, as he's circling the crystal, you'll notice that all of the male lives that you have lived, all the ancestors, all of those connected to your family lineage, in every time, in every place, in every dimension, are all filling the chamber for this special moment. Because in this special moment, the male aspect of each and every one of us is going to get a download of the new way of being, the true way of being, where attention is given to the heart of each and every one, including him. And let him continue. And as the room is now filled with all of these male roles and ancestors that are male, stop in front of the crystal where he can see her eyes and her face. And the only thing being communicated between the two of them in this moment is through the eyes of the soul, where they can genuinely say, I love you. I honor you. I cherish you. I respect you. I will protect you. And the crystal will light up It becomes even brighter than it was before as she responds and reacts to this communication at soul level. And now it's time for him to pay attention to her and show her affection in the most gentle of ways he can think of. And that is simply one finger gently reaching out as she reaches up her one finger, the two connecting together. And in that communication, in that one touch, in that one moment, the two will breathe together one breath. As they breathe in the same moment, in the same breath, in the same heartbeat, to reconnect to what is sacred about self and sexuality. Let it be a special moment where trust is given, where truth is shared, and when the two reunite together as one. See him emerging into the crystal, and as he stands with her, with his arms around her, be very, very aware in this moment that that is enough. It is enough that each of them showed up. It is enough that each of them have acknowledged their experiences, that each of them are capable of forgiveness, that each of them have a heart that beats together now as one, the way it was originally designed and created. You are the one. And in this moment, that oneness and that sacredness is reprogramming your sexuality so that it is pure of heart, clear of intention, and sacred to the very core of your soul. Feel the essence of that sacredness and surrender to it. Just be in this moment, in this breath, in this heartbeat. Just be yourself. It's enough. Not only is it enough, it's more than enough. Because with a heart that is in union and harmony with our sexuality, it ignites a state of grace called self-empowerment. And that power is now fully aligned and attuned to resonate with love, compassion, caring, fairness, kindness, truth. That is who you are designed to be. And in this moment, that is who you have returned to become. And as this moment is being expanded in time and space, in this reality and all others, in all of the dimensions with all of your ancestors, just see the energy of the universal light raining down on you, giving you the strength and the wisdom, the insights, the intuitive self, a sense of direction and a sense of purpose. And it's a beautiful combination of the emerald green light of the earth and the beautiful blue and purple light of the universe, just merging together, interconnecting, interwoven, interchanging. And at the very center of that self that is you now, there is a DNA activation going on. It's like a spiral moving up through the core of your being. As you breathe in, the energy spirals up. And as you breathe out, the energy spirals down. And then reverse them. Breathe out. Breathe in. So you have the two strands, one moving up while the other's moving down. And yet they are still connected. They're the way they were originally created. And now if you listen with your heart, you will hear the child. And allow that child to just appear in your arms. And allow the child to know that it has been reinstated into the benevolent being and energy that it's meant to be. That child is pure, purely divine. And it doesn't matter whether that child is male or female, or a combination of both as we learn about our 5D reality. That child deserves to have the best of everything that the heart can provide. And the child needs to know that the hurt that you have held in your heart is no longer present. So let's just take a quick peek in that heart and make sure that there isn't any hurt left, because the two cannot dwell in the same space or place. If there's any hurt, make sure that you remove it, release it, forgive it. And now it's time as we bring the energy into a complete state of awareness and activation. We will just ask that the ancestors that supported this whole moment, we just ask them to continue to be supportive and caring, and to continue to give information and influence in our lives, but only in the name of love. There is no other way that they can access your awareness from this point on. It can only be done with love. And each of you just take a moment and offer your own gratitude and thankfulness for what you have achieved today. Remembering to give thanks to the Creator for opening up the window of opportunity. And give thanks to the Mother for supporting and nurturing and providing everything that is needed for us to live in peace and harmony. It's a team effort. But right now, the inner team is you. All of you, every part of you, every cell of you, every breath of you, every heartbeat of you. Just be. And you can come back into your full awareness in your room that you're sitting in whatever comfort state you're in, whether you're lying down, sitting, standing, doesn't matter. It's going to follow you everywhere now. And you may even find that the influence in your dream state right now is going to start providing ways and means for you to create experiences where you get to actually feel what you've just done. Because there's no point in having a healing moment if you don't get some confirmation or a little nudging or a little inspirational moment in the next few days that tell you, yes, love is simple. And when we get back to living simple, we get back to living the way life was designed. And when you consider your sexuality, I want you to just imagine that it is this incredible energetic essence that is inside of you that has a purpose in being and one which, as we enter into our 5D frequency existence, you're going to start and see the beauty and the wonder and the amazing magical part of our energy field that our sexuality was actually designed to be, instead of the encapsulated, limited, distorted energy that we have held it in up until now. That's all gone. It's like there's nothing left to reference, there's nothing left to go back to. And even if you really wanted to at this point, I'm going to test you. I want you to stop and think of something that happened to you in a sexual way that you have always found either hurtful or disturbing or upsetting. I want you to see if you can think of it right now and feel that feeling. And if anybody can, just put your hand up. Can you feel that hurt, that pain? Okay. All right. So what I would like you to do is to take that hurt and that pain and put it in any kind of container that you want. It can be a bucket, it can be a glass, it can be a garbage bin, it can be as big as you want or as small as you want. I want you to imagine that you're just putting that sexual situation into that container. And ask yourself this one question. Do I still need it? Do I still need to feel that way? Or am I done? Anybody not feel that you're done with it? Then the best place you could possibly hand that container, that vessel, whatever it was that you have contained it in, I want you to imagine that you were handing it to the Creator and putting it in his or her hands. I'm done with this. I learned everything that I could learn. I experienced what was needed. I now comprehend clearly what I don't want. And in this container clearly holds what I don't want. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to remember this part of my experience other than the wisdom that I've gained. I will keep that. I will keep the wisdom, thank you very much, because it is important that I hold that in a sacred place so that I can help others, so that I can treat others differently, so that I have the power and the capacity to forgive the unforgivable. But what actually happened that I've contained in this vessel, I don't need it anymore. And hand it over. And trust that when you do let go, something inside of you will change that has been consuming your life force and your sense of self-worth, your identity. It was affecting all of that in ways that you may be aware of, and most of them you won't be aware of how many ways it was affecting you. So just allow it to be handed over and see yourself walking away. And it will feel a little different. It will feel a little strange because, yes, a part of you is being left behind. But it's the part of you that you no longer require in order to be complete and whole and holy. You're intact. You're a full package. You got it all. You did what you needed to do, and it's done. So let's do another little test just to be sure. Think of a situation where, that really hurt, or I was a victim for a very long time in a situation where I thought I couldn't get out of it and I couldn't help myself, and I just gave in. I was a victim. Do you still feel it? Put your hand up if you do. Good for you guys. Remember, our sexuality is a sacred thing. It's something that when we are finished doing the research that is the darkness and the shadow side, which we have all agreed we've completed research in depth repeatedly, thank you. Now you get to explore what it means in a way that it uplifts you and it opens your heart. And for the most part, you will find that that attention and affection that you have been longing for and looking for actually comes from the source of creation that's in you. It's in here. Pay attention and give it lots of affection because you're worth it and you deserve it. Okay, so just take a couple of breaths and we're going to let that settle, and then we're going to open the floor for questions. So Yvonne, if you would like to turn the recording off at this point, people can just take a few moments and ask yourself inside, is there